These hygroscopic plastic pellets look perfectly dry on the outside, but they're actually loaded with invisible moisture that will destroy your product if you don't remove it first. This hidden manufacturing step called resin drying prevents billions of dollars in defective plastic products every year, yet most consumers have never heard of it. Walk into any plastic manufacturing facility and you'll see massive silos and dryers working around the clock, not to melt plastic, but simply to remove water that you can't even see. This isn't about surface wetness, we're talking about moisture measured in parts per million that is soaked deep into the molecular structure of plastic pellets just from sitting in normal air. The fundamental problem comes down to chemistry. Plastic materials fall into two categories: hygroscopic and non-hygroscopic. Hygroscopic plastics have a strong molecular hunger for water and will absorb moisture directly from the atmosphere into their internal structure. Think of it like a microscopic sponge. Even when the pellet feels completely dry to the touch, water molecules bind to the polymer chains inside. The most common hygroscopic plastics include nylon, ABS, acrylic, PET, polycarbonate, and polyurethane. These materials will absorb moisture just by being exposed to normal room air. Nylon is particularly aggressive. It can absorb upward of 2 to 8% moisture by weight. When fully saturated, that means if you have 100 pounds of nylon pellets sitting in a warehouse, up to 8 pounds of that weight could actually be water. Non-hygroscopic plastics like polyethylene, polypropylene, and polystyrene don't absorb significant moisture and generally don't require drying before processing. But here's the crucial distinction. The majority of engineering plastics and high-performance materials are hygroscopic, which means most plastic manufacturing requires this drying step. The moisture content specifications are incredibly precise. For PET, which is used to make clear plastic bottles, the moisture must be reduced to 0.005% by weight or less. That's 50 parts per million, an almost impossibly small amount. To put that in perspective, measuring 50 parts per million is like finding 50 milligrams in an entire kilogram of material. This precision directly affects the intrinsic viscosity of the polymer, a critical quality metric that determines whether bottle-grade PET maintains its strength and clarity. The dew point of the drying air is equally important. While typical ambient air might have a dew point ranging from -20 to +70 degrees Fahrenheit, the air used to dry plastic pellets must have a dew point of at least -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Only air this dry can pull moisture out of plastic pellets and keep it from going right back in. So what happens if you skip this step or don't do it properly? The consequences range from cosmetic defects to complete structural failure, and they often don't show up until it's too late. Industry standard testing uses melt flow rate measurements. When moisture damage occurs, you'll see a 40% increase in MFR, indicating polymer degradation. When moisture-laden plastic is heated during injection molding or extrusion, the water instantly vaporizes into steam. This creates what's called splay or silver streaking, those unsightly lines and marks you sometimes see on plastic products. But splay is actually the least of your worries because at least you can see it and reject the part. The real danger is hydrolysis, a chemical reaction where water molecules break the covalent bonds in the polymer chain. This literally cuts the long polymer molecules into shorter pieces, affecting the molecular weight distribution of the material. Once that happens, there's no going back. You can't re-dry the material and magically reconnect those broken chains. The damage is permanent. Parts made from hydrolyzed plastic will often look perfectly normal, but have severely compromised mechanical properties. They'll be brittle, weak, and prone to failure under stress. In critical applications like automotive components, medical devices, or structural parts, this hidden weakness could lead to catastrophic failures and potential lawsuits. The cost impact is staggering. Industry data shows that just one reject part costs approximately 4 times what it takes to make one good part. Even worse, the profit loss from making a reject part may require up to 7 good parts to recover the losses. With typical scrap rates in injection molding running 3 to 5%, and some facilities seeing rates as high as 10%, the financial impact adds up quickly. For a facility producing high volume parts, a scrap rate of 10% with raw materials costing up to half of revenue could result in scrap costs of $350,000 annually. If they could reduce that scrap rate by just 50%, they'd save $175,000 and increase net profit by 70%. Optimizing residence time in the injection molding process, typically 5 to 10 minutes for most applications, becomes critical to preventing additional degradation. The drying process itself is surprisingly complex and time-consuming. Different materials require different temperatures and drying times. Nylon typically needs to be dried at 90 degrees Celsius for at least 4 hours, though severely saturated material might need up to 24 hours. PET requires even higher temperatures, around 160 degrees Celsius, but the timing is critical because PET goes through a crystallization process during heating. Here's where it gets really interesting. PET resin often comes in an amorphous clear form that will actually agglomerate into one large mass if heated too quickly. To prevent this, the material must be constantly agitated while being heated through its glass transition temperature. This converts the amorphous PET into a crystallized state that can then be properly dried without clumping together. Polycarbonate needs 4 to 8 hours at temperatures between 85 and 120 degrees Celsius. ABS can be dried relatively quickly, just 15 to 30 minutes at 176 degrees Fahrenheit. But here's the catch. Once any of these materials are properly dried, they'll start reabsorbing moisture from the air in just 15 to 30 minutes. This means the entire supply chain from dryer to molding machine must be carefully controlled. Traditional desiccant dryers have dominated for decades, accounting for at least 80% of dryers in use. These complex machines use molecular sieves to remove moisture from the air, creating that critical negative 40-degree dew point. The dried air is heated and circulated through hoppers containing the plastic pellets, gradually pulling moisture out of the material. You'll find both hopper dryer systems for smaller operations and central drying systems for high-volume facilities, but these systems have significant drawbacks. They're energy intensive, require frequent maintenance, and can take 8 hours to complete a changeover between different materials. Modern facilities distinguish between desiccant wheel technology and twin tower dryers, each offering different advantages for specific applications. For facilities processing recycled PET, which has become increasingly important as the global market for recycled PET is projected to grow from $12 billion in 2024 to over $21 billion by 2031, traditional dryers often struggle to handle the IV drop that occurs in post-consumer recycled material. This has led to innovations in drying technology. Vacuum dryers heat the pellets in a sealed container and then draw a vacuum to rapidly remove moisture. These systems can dry a batch of material in as little as 30 minutes, compared to 4 to 6 hours for traditional desiccant dryers. The vacuum creates an environment where water vaporizes at much lower temperatures, speeding the process while using less energy. Advanced vacuum systems for recycled PET use a precise 4-stage process that keeps the material below 160 degrees Celsius for 75% of the drying cycle. This protects color and mechanical properties while consuming up to 33% less energy than traditional methods. Managing the intrinsic viscosity drop in recycled material requires this precise control to maintain bottle-grade specifications. The latest development is the integration of artificial intelligence and Industry 4.0 technologies. Modern drying systems from manufacturers like Novatech and Conair can monitor over 300 sensors and automatically adjust parameters based on real-time conditions. AI platforms analyze data to identify specific defect patterns and recommend targeted parameter adjustments. Some facilities implementing AI-driven recommendations have seen scrap rate reductions of 25%. Smart features and energy-saving modes can deliver up to 90% energy savings over older competitive methods. For a process running 220 pounds per hour, the energy difference between new ultra dryers and generic desiccant dryers can save $6,500 annually. But technology alone isn't enough. The human factor remains critical. Material handlers must understand that moisture absorption happens quickly and constantly. Storage areas need to be climate controlled. Transportation between drying and processing must be carefully managed. Even small exposures to humid air can undo hours of careful drying. The testing and quality control aspects are equally sophisticated. ASTM International has developed multiple standards for measuring moisture in plastics, including ASTM D7191, which can quantitatively measure moisture content down to 20 parts per million, and ASTM D6869, which covers the Carl Fisher reaction method for moisture determination. Carl Fisher titration, gas chromatography, and specialized moisture analyzers are used to verify that materials meet specifications before processing. For PET bottle manufacturing, which has been a major application since 1976, proper drying is absolutely critical. PET bottles must be crystal clear, structurally sound enough to withstand carbonation pressure, and maintain properties throughout their shelf life. Any moisture-related defects in the preform stage will show up as cloudiness, weak spots, or dimensional problems in the finished bottle. The color consistency issues are particularly challenging. Even minor moisture defects can create inconsistent pigment distribution or microvoids that scatter light unevenly. This results in parts that look patchy or translucent where they should be solid. In transparent or glossy products, these defects are magnified by light reflection and refraction, instantly ruining the visual appeal. Nylon presents its own unique challenges. If nylon isn't dried properly, it will actually drool or spit out of the injection molding nozzle during processing. This creates flash, foaming, and pressure drops in the molding machine. But if nylon is over-dried, the final product becomes brittle and prone to stress cracking. Finding that sweet spot requires precise control and constant monitoring. The recycling revolution has added new complexity to the drying equation. Recycled materials often have different moisture absorption characteristics than virgin resins. Contamination levels, previous processing history, and storage conditions all affect how the material needs to be dried. Traditional desiccant dryers designed for virgin materials may not have the flexibility to handle these variations effectively. This is driving investment in more sophisticated drying equipment. Facilities processing recycled content are upgrading from 10 to 25-year-old systems that require frequent maintenance and can't provide adequate process control. The new generation of dryers offers better monitoring, faster changeovers, and more precise control over the drying environment. Looking ahead, the integration of Internet of Things sensors and machine learning algorithms promises even more dramatic improvements. These systems can adapt dynamically to changing moisture conditions, material variations, and processing requirements. They can predict maintenance needs, optimize energy consumption, and provide early warning of quality issues. The bottom line is that plastic resin drying represents a perfect example of how modern manufacturing depends on controlling processes that are completely invisible to end users. Those clear plastic bottles, sturdy automotive components, and precise electronic housings all depend on moisture levels measured in parts per million being controlled to exacting specifications. This hidden step in the manufacturing process prevents billions of dollars in defective products, but it requires sophisticated equipment, precise control, and deep understanding of polymer chemistry. As materials become more advanced and quality requirements more stringent, the importance of proper drying will only continue to grow. It's a reminder that behind every successful plastic product lies a complex web of precisely controlled processes that most of us never see or think about, but that are absolutely essential to the products we use every day. Make sure you subscribe.